Good morning. Welcome to Help the Helpers this morning. And it is March. And so I was thinking, well, we have a new month and we aren't in this month going to be every week talking about an unsayable. So this morning we're talking about idealization. But then I thought they're very connected, idealization and unsayables. And you might say, well, how are they connected? And I'm thinking that ideals and the people that we idealize that are representatives of those ideals are so important, so basic. And BJ said that the loss of a beloved ideal is worse than the loss of a child. Now, I don't know, I've never lost a child. I have lost ideals, but I've sort of gotten them back. I lose them and then they go through some transformation and then I get them back in a different form. But the worst insult that you can give someone is something about their ideals. So if somebody says, your mother, motherfucker, blah, blah, something about your mother, that's like the worst thing that causes gangs of people to shoot each other and things like that. So there's something about ideals and the preciousness of the ones that are idealized that's very, very basic to human nature. So I've become very interested in the issue of idealization. And I'm going to say something dramatic because I like to start my little talks with something dramatic. We can chalk up all of the ills of the world, all the terrible things going on. We can say all of that is a disorder of idealization. Does that strike you as true? A disorder of idealization.
Lynn, would you define what you mean by idealization?
Yes, that's where I'm going. Thank you, Prilanka. So let's start the way we often start our Help for Helpers. And first, let's take a stretch. That's my way of getting here with you. Because I really want to talk to you about idealization. Let's take a couple of breaths. Those of you who don't have your cameras on, I would love to see your faces, but even if you're eating breakfast, or even especially if you're eating breakfast, I want to see your faces, or dinner. I see Jim eating his cereal. Yes. So what do we want the word idealization to mean? And it would be nice in this session if you have a paper and pen around. Just give yourself a minute. What comes to mind when you think of idealization? And of course, since this is a focusing group, we don't care about an accurate dictionary idealization, but what idealization means to you. What does that word point at to you? What comes to you? Just raise your hand if you've got something there. Just a couple of words or images.
The
Good.
word optimal or comes to
Optimal.
me. Optimal.
Uh-huh.
Well, first the word perfect came, but
Perfect. Optimal.
yeah.
Meaning.
Meaning. Meaning. Anybody else? Just whatever comes to you. Sashi,
Maybe
I need all my people to call on people and all of my people to be brave and speak.
I- to me, idealization um, means when we don't see any shortcomings in that person.
Hmm.
We either overlook them or we minimize them or like we check out the reality a little bit at the door.
We check our reality at the door. We don't see any of the shortcomings. Anybody else?
Uh, I, I, I'm struggling with idealization and ideal person. And for me, what has come is more something like virtue or a guiding light that I go towards, a direction, an inspiration as well as an
Hmm.
aspiration. It's
Yeah.
it's something I want to follow and to be
Yes.
guided by.
Yes. Yes.
So I wasn't thinking so much of persons, even though I admire a lot of person, especially Jending and also you, Lynn, and Carl Rogers, certainly. Uh, but I'm more thinking in terms of not
The
person as
ideal.
much as ideals, yes,
Yes.
in the classical sense of the
Yes.
virtue. Like
Yes.
for me, a very strong ideal is humanly beautiful.
Yes. And we know that, Lip, because you've said that and I that always strikes me about beautiful. Yes, so ideals are something you want to follow. It's a light in the darkness. And then the idealized people are symbols of those ideals for us. So they're representatives of those ideals for us. And we want to follow. When we want to follow an idealized person, it's really we want to follow what they're representing for us, what they're shining on us um, with. Anybody else? Yeah,
complete.
Stefan, right?
Yeah. Um, I thought of black and white thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and then in these few seconds you left for checking inside with focusing,
Mm-hmm.
I saw colors in front of me, objects with colors, red and yellow and so. And then I thought, oh, normally black and white thinking, we think the alternative is gray,
Mm-hmm.
shades of gray
Mm-hmm.
between black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a kind of new alternative, which I liked better. I mean, which I say I like better. It's a kind of maybe idealization, which is not black and white, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting, Stefan, because yesterday I had a day off and I spent the day making grays. And it's the most fascinating thing because when you take two opposite colors on the color wheel, like red and green, and you mix them together, you get gray, and yellow and purple make gray. And what did I leave out? Blue and orange make gray. And so that's a wonderful metaphor, isn't it? That that when you put the opposites together, you get these incredible luminous grays. And I think that your first thinking was that idealization is more the black and white. This one is perfect, and this one, those are the bad guys. In my childhood in the Westerns, they wore black hats, and they're the bad guys. But then I think what you were saying is that when you thought about it more, there are a lot of more colors in the idealization. Is that right? Did I get that right?
I don't yet know, but there seems to be a way when when this gray is not medium, usually one would say, well, ugliness and beauty, and the in between is a medium, so to speak. But somehow, I don't know, it came by this image, but the idea that there are yeah,
Many
a bit of paradox, a bit of a paradox, not medium, but still in the middle between black and white. Yeah.
Yes. It's in the middle, but it's not medium between black and white. So my image is of like a triangle. It's this third thing, but it's not a mixture of the two. Anyway, that was my takeoff on your image. Thank you. Yeah.
I'd like to hear from Priyanka.
I'd love to hear from Priyanka.
Yeah, I think there was something wrong with my mic. I was trying to speak. In Hindi, we have a word called Purna, which means complete. And normally God is fully complete. So when I think about idealization, I think of someone or something that is complete, that has no more to grow, nothing more to learn.
No more to grow, nothing else to learn. It's complete, the idealization. Okay, I'm going to say a few more. Oh, we have another person.
Alban?
I can't see your name. I need my.
Are you talking about me?
Yes, I am.
It's Alban.
Say it again.
Alban.
Undone. Is that right?
Alban.
Aldan.
Yes.
Aldan. Great.
Maybe
Thank
I will
you.
read. Yes.
Thank you for your patience in my getting your name.
So for me, it's two things. The first is, seeing the best in someone or in a situation, but also it's nothing things or someone as they are, like, because it can have like a bad side or something not quite right about idealization for me.
Oh, yes. So there's a kind of underside, an underbelly of idealization. That's not quite right.
Yes, not seeing the situation of a person as he or she really is.
Not seeing the person or the situation as they really are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I call this this reflection the heaven and hell of idealization, because idealization has a dark side to it, right? So you people have really highlighted many of the faces of idealization that we want to sort of talk about this morning. Idealization is the nourishment, the nutrient in our human diet for emotional and psychological well-being. We need to have our ideals and those people that represent them, the idealizations, to be inspired, to be steadied, to be illuminated, that light that Lip was talking about, to be strengthened. We become strengthened with our idealization. Donna Orange has this term, our inner chorus. And the inner chorus is made up of those that we idealize, those that we admire, the people who represent the big ones for us, to our little ones. It's like Gene Genlin says so many wise things, and I look to him. If I'm stuck with a client sometimes, I'll think, well, what would Gene say about this? That's my idealization of Gene, right? Those experiences of having somebody to look up to, feeling like we belong under the umbrella of ideals and values that feel larger than life for us. We need that. It's like having parents. We need to survive as infants. We need to have parents or parenting people. And all through our lives, we need these emotional, psychological parents that represent the more of life for us. Now, I was really looking forward to talking with you about idealization because I think that that this community understands something about it that's very difficult for people to understand who aren't focusers and who aren't therapists, because it's a very, very basic to therapeutic training. And that is that it isn't, idealization is not a distortion. It's not a mistake. It's not like we're fooling ourselves or we're seeing things in rose-colored glasses only. Idealization is in the realm of what Winnicott, he's a psychoanalyst, called transitional space. And we know about it in focusing because we know about the power of the implicit, that everything in life isn't lined up in these boxes. It's right or it's wrong, it's good or it's bad, it's real or it's not real. The realm of idealization is the realm of the implicit, and here's Claudia, the implicit in which things aren't real or unreal, but they're real in a different way. So I idealized Gene Genlin from the time I met him. When I first met him, and I said, it's like falling in love. Wow, there's something this guy has that I want. There's something this guy knows that I want to know. And I immediately went up to him and organized a training group, because I wanted to get that. And many people have had that with Gene. And many people have had that kind of experience with the idealized people that maybe some of them in my chorus I've never met. Like I talk about Brother David Stendhal Rast, who's a monk whose writings I love. I never met him. Many of you, or maybe all of you, have these people that have something that is larger than life, more. And that's not false. They do have that. When you first fall in love with someone and you idealize them, they idealize you. It's not a distortion. Those things, that's a real larger than life part of you that they see. And it's a real larger than life part of Jean that I see. I I love this moment in when I met Jean Genlin and I did the training, organized the training. I also went into therapy with him for that year. He was in New York. And I was talking about my mother, who is a very, very big figure in my life. And Jean kind of winked at me and said, well, other people think that their parents are larger than life, but your mother is larger than life. And it was such a wonderful thing because he was acknowledging, it was playful, like there are many people experiencing their parents as larger than life, but he was trying to reflect, I really think my mother is larger than life. But our idealized people are larger than life for us. And that's real. We need to have those people. We need to have those ideals. I want to go to the dark side of idealization. But before we do that, I'd love it if you, again, come back to yourself and just jot down, who are the idealized people for you? Who are you inspired by?
LYNN, can you say a few words as to why we need this? Why we need?
Why we need idealization? I I was imagining, Sashi, that you were going to ask that question. Why do we need that? We need to feel just like we need parents. We need to feel that there is something in the world that's bigger than what we know. There's a deep longing to have the sense of being guided. And for some people, it won't be represented by a person. Maybe it's an idea like Philip Beauty. It's a kind of north light that gives us a compass inside. Think for a minute about who you idealized as a child. I loved Captain Video. That was before your time, but he was wonderful. We need in our culture idealized people. Martin Luther King is one of the people in our culture that I idealize. Much of show business is the idealization of actors and musicians and singers. Maybe there are authors that you idealize. Just write them all down. There may be people that you idealize from your child self, that your adult self wouldn't idealize at all. There can be a big gap there. I idealize in men the smell of cigarettes. I think if a man smells like a cigarette, I think they're strong and protective. Now, my adult self is like, oh no, really? That's terrible. But my child self has this very primal memory of a tall, handsome father with the smell of a cigarette. Idealization can be a mismatch because some of the idealization is from a very young place. But you could write those down, the idealizations that you don't approve of. Okay, before I even ask you about that, I'm going to say some more things about idealization, and then we'll get into our discussion of it. Of course, you all know the dark side of idealization, right? We idealize money, we idealize power, we idealize, sometimes we idealize being tough and uncaring. We think that's strong. Idealization is a kind of surrender to something that we feel is bigger. And it's very natural to sort of give up. And this is what, who was saying this about giving up, maybe Sashi, giving up, checking something at the door, checking reality at the door. You're sort of putting aside your misgivings about that person or that thing when you're idealizing. And there's a tendency to sort of give up your adult self in some ways, and to blindly follow that person idea, and to not even think critically about it because it's on a different level. So again, this isn't on the level of the explicit, but the deep, bigger level of the implicit. Idealization, I should first say that I learned a lot about idealization from Kohut, the founder of self-psychology, who was one of the first people to talk about how it's not just a distortion, it's something we need for our lives. And the underside of it can be very dangerous. And that's why I said the whole world is suffering from an idealization pathology. It's like we idealize the wrong people, or we idealize and give up our own critical thinking. And we need to be able to idealize. Then we need to be able to bring our adult selves to it and think about it not as right or wrong, good or bad, but all the complexities of that idea or that person. So I think we wouldn't have to look very far to see all of the abuses of idealization, not only with politicians, not only with gurus that sleep with their students, but also in families, right? The idealization of a member of the family that's loud or tough or abusive at times. When we're navigating, and Liz, I'm aware of, I want to hear what you have to say in a moment. When we're navigating this very precarious road of idealization, we need it, and it can be harmful. I guess like food, we need food, and then the discrimination and bringing our adult selves to eating can be difficult too. It's
Sorry,
yeah,
Lucy here,
please.
can I just ask you, could you just say again what you said about you said something about the abusive family? I missed.
Yes, I was just trying to bring in, I think, what we all know about how idealization can really lead to many abuses. That if I have a very charismatic, exciting father who is also alcoholic, so he's wonderful and exciting, and then he drinks too much and then he's beating my mother, that idealization is so confusing and difficult. I might want to be like my daddy, and then there's this disillusionment and difficulty even getting my mind around that. Liz, you were going to say something. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
That was Lucy. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Lynn.
Liz.
I was thinking about a difference between idealizing when, as with Kohat, Lynn, you felt that you idealized him and you could get something. You could follow through. You could get a training, versus the kind of idealization where you feel, I could never attain that. And part of that, I could never. So the person is way up high and shows you that you're not valuable in that way, right? So you could have that feeling. And in fact, I was thinking when you were talking about the dark side, that that's where you were going. But so you could have that with somebody you've never met. You know, I could never play the piano like Vladimir Horowitz, and I could really idealize Vladimir Horowitz. But then there could be the difference between, in your family, idealizing your parent, and they welcome that, and they help you, and they like it,
Mhm.
and they're able to invest in you
Mhm.
versus a parent who maybe is threatened by your idealization of them, or they're just not interested in you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I
Exactly.
guess I'm bringing a common denominator here, that I'm bringing it into an interaction.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that is where I was going in my next point. You anticipated that.
Sorry.
No, that's so great. That isn't it wonderful when, the next point needs to be made. And that was, yes, when you're putting someone on a pedestal, right? They're so high, then of course there's the feeling of, I'm so low. I could never be like that. And in comparison with this person, I'm nothing. I think of a client that I had years ago who she and I played with kind of magical, wonderful experiences that we had in our imagination, and I was the holder of those wonderful magical experiences. And one time, I think it was her birthday, was some occasion, and I was sick, and um, I couldn't meet with her, and she couldn't have a good birthday because I wasn't there, and the things that we did together she couldn't do by herself, because it was the LYNN within, she called that idealization. And she was furious at me. She came and she pounded on the table and she said, "Give me my power back. I'm sick and tired of being dependent on you." And it was so striking. I was like, wow, yeah, let's get your power back here. Right? That the underside of idealization is giving up or devaluing ourselves. The idea that, oh, this one would never want me. This beautiful woman or this beautiful man would never want me. And that is a very, very natural part of putting people on a pedestal or idealizing. And there's always disillusionment. There's always disappointment. And the disillusionment and disappointment can bring incredible primal rage, because it's attacking something deep inside us. So the underside of idealization is a kind of devaluing and giving up ourselves. Now, Kohut talked about, well, what do we do about this dilemma of something that we so need and something that can be so dangerous and harmful? And Kohut sort of advised therapists, it's very important not to crush the idealization, but to recognize that it's larger than life. It's not about me as my little self. It's about this big self that someone else is seeing, that sometimes I can't even see. I'm representing something. So Kohut says that it's very, very important for the therapist not to deny the idealization and say, oh, no, you're idealizing me, or that's not me. And also not to cling to it. Oh, that's me, and I need I need them to love me, right? When I give a help the helpers talk, it needs to be perfect, and I need everybody to love what I'm saying. That's clinging to the idealization. So one can't take the idealization literally. You know, of course, I'm perfect if I'm the mommy of the 2-year-old. Sometimes then I could be the devil, right? The other side of the idealization. But what you're saying, Liz, is so important, that it's about sharing it. It's like having the others under the umbrella with you of the idealization. So the mother, that the little girl looks at the mother and says, "Mommy, you're so strong. You're so beautiful." And the mother says, "Oh, you're quite strong too for a 3-year-old. Wow, you're growing into a very strong young woman." So it's this sharing, the giving it back, recognizing that idealization is in the realm of the implicit, and recognizing that we're not taking it literally, but recognizing that it has a lot of power, and it has to be empowering the other. It's, as Liz, as you said, it's a relationship. It's an interaction between the idealized and the idealized and the idealizer. And even, and or especially with political leaders, the leader has a responsibility, a sacred responsibility for the idealization of the people that leader is representing, and therapists have, and parents have, and teachers have, and all of us are both idealized and idealizing, and need to include each other in that process. And it's not the same. It's what we call in psychoanalysis, it's asymmetrical. You know, there's a big one and a little one, but it's mutual. They're both in this realm of navigating a life process. Pauline, is it Pauline? Yes, Pauline.
Hi, Lynn. How you doing? And everyone, morning. You're an hour behind or ahead. Your clock has come back. Yeah, my hand is up a while, so I've sort of forgotten the thread.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just at the point. I think it was the felt sense of the idealization, how to put words on it without actually going into an either or paradigm, you know. And it was when you were talking about God, and that was it. It was like, okay, yeah, that is where the beginning and end starts with me, you know, of putting something up on a pedestal or putting something to aspire to. And I think my ideal now would be to teach children from a very early age how equal they are to the person, almost like the values we have with help the helpers. You know, it's like that, not to do the projection and then they won't need therapists afterwards, you know. So yeah, certainly not encourage idealism, but it's more to get away from the word and really nail the transaction, you know. It's not to do that. So yeah, so thank you. That's just
No, Pauline, you're making a wonderful point, and you're disagreeing with me, and we love disagreement, right? So
I am disagreeing with your encouragement to encouragement. Yeah, and I don't believe I need, you know, I'm weaning myself off the habit, you know, of
yes,
idealizing people. You know,
you're weaning yourself from from idealization,
It's
which is
taking back the power. Yeah.
taking
So,
back power.
yes.
That's one direction, right? Idealization both empowers you and it can take your power. And I think, Pauline, in a way, this might not be right. So so I'm trying this out. In a way, you're idealizing equality. You're saying what's important is that we don't feel unequal. And that's an ideal that we have in Help the Helpers, right? That we honor everyone's opinion.
No, their value as a person, not their
Yeah.
opinion.
Right.
I think it's a huge difference.
Oh, yes. We value the person as not their opinion. Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
might think their opinion, but it's the equality of dignity is what I would believe in, or I want as an idea, as a value.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Can I speak? Could I get in there?
Please, sure.
Because I'm thinking that then you don't like idealization and its special qualities, you know, so that if you democratize it, then is anything lost? Because you can admire, you know, but then you're losing idealization. And I wonder if you're coming at the idea of idealization from a self-psychology point of view, it's almost, not almost, I think that Kohut is saying that is really going to happen to young children. They really are going to idealize their big parents and others. And can you make that go away, or do you really have to just deal with it because it exists and it is part of development? And if you see what I mean.
I do.
About the other side of the democratization. Yes, when you're 40, maybe you don't want to go around thinking that you're inferior to everybody. That would be, you know, Kohut might say in that case that development didn't proceed according to his idealization of what a good development would. I guess I'm kind of advocating for idealization in a way where it doesn't have to go into, you know, malignant envy or some kind of crazy thing that screws you up, you know.
Well, maybe it goes there and then we can bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kohut is saying that it's developmental. We idealize in a very naive way as children, and then as we grow, our idealization grows and it becomes more of a mature idealization that can incorporate all the different other things about a person or even an idea. As I became more familiar with Jean when we were collaborating, and there were all kinds of other things that came in there when we were disagreeing and fighting, and my idealization went through many transformations. And I thought, oh, you know, he's very wise, but sometimes he can be so stupid. And he would have been very happy. He was very happy to hear me say that, because the de-idealization can be, let's see if I could say this. This is a nice thing to say. I don't know if Pauline will agree with me, because sometimes you could think, oh, it's too much messy, let's just leave it alone. But what I'm saying is that the de-idealization, the disillusionment, the disappointment is a sort of necessary part and it can be incorporated into the idealization. There are things that I found out about Gandhi that weren't really idealizable. And I thought, I don't like that. But he was a person. Einstein was a horrible husband. But I still idealize him for the guidance in many things of a way of thinking. So we have hands up. What I'm saying, I just want to say one more sentence. What I'm saying is that idealization empowers us, and we can learn both as the idealizer and the idealized how to navigate that in a way that that process becomes a process of a spiritual process of not taking it literally, but taking it deeply seriously. Okay, let's see whose hands I missed now. Will somebody help me here? I don't want to be the only caller on her.
I can unmute myself. Can
Thank you.
I come back to ideals rather than people. But what the point I want to raise now is I actually don't have an idealization of ideals. I actually try to live in a way in which what I idealize is part of my living process. So at times when I face choices, I would say, what would be more beautiful here? So I use the idealization to guide my action. So it's very much a live experience rather than a worshipping. And talking about Gandhi, I mean, for me, his courageousness is very inspiring, and his being able to go through struggles, and his being able to do with less material things. So all those are very good qualities. So there was a connection to qualities, and at the most essential level, it will be connected to what is true.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think the quintessential or basic difference is that in Buddhism, we don't idealize God as a kind of person, whereas in Christianity, God is, and Jesus, there's a personness. And for some people, the personness is very important because it's a personness that then is receiving me. But for other people, let's leave the personness out and we can worship life and mystery without experiencing the little one in us experiencing that big mystery as a person kind of energy. Okay, we have another hand. Yes.
Oh, that
Lucy.
looks like it might be me.
That
Yeah, I was just thinking about how it was interesting when I was kind of sensing into who I idealize on the darker side. So not the wonderful side. I was noticing this tendency to idealize people, a certain kind, a certain type of attitude, people who are kind of presenting in a certain kind of a way that I identify as being very opposite to me. And I was just kind of sensing how useful that is to catch those, to really catch those kind of the whole feeling, the atmosphere around what one's sensing and that person or projecting onto that person.
Yes.
Because there's a kind of like a kind of red thread that runs through those people that's like showing me something that I need to be a bit more like in some way, just in a kind of essence way.
Yes, yes, yes.
Not not immediately obviously how, but just a little bit more like
Yes, yes,
in a
yes.
kind of homeopathic way.
Yes, yes, yes. That uh two things I get there, Lucy. One is that sometimes you can be self-critical and idealize someone is that's the opposite of you in some kind of way, but you wouldn't really want to be them. You really wouldn't want to be that other way, but you need a little bit of that other way. And yeah,
Exactly.
yes, yeah. I remember this woman that I idealized as a young therapist whose house was spotless. Everything was white in her house, and everything was perfect. And she served us tea in this perfect way. And I idealized her. And oh, my house is so messy and so cluttered. And but I wouldn't have really wanted to have a completely white house that was perfect. But that was my association to what you said, Lucy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's have one more share, and then we want to have a little time for breakout rooms because I'd love you to be able to share about. Yes, Sashi, go ahead.
I know Marvin's hand is up. Marvin Mani.
Okay, you first, and then Marvin, and then breakout rooms.
I want to share something also. Maybe I have a question. I attended, unintentionally attended a fair on the weekend. It's called Monster Mania, where people, where people gather together and celebrate their monsters. They
Oh,
idealize, they idealize them to the extent that they dress like them or they carry them on their shoulders, and they stand in lines to get autographs of people
oh my goodness.
who played the monsters. And I was trying to understand what this whole thing meant, you know. And it is a form of idealization,
Yes,
and
yes,
a
yes.
very explicit one. It's
Yes,
it,
absolutely.
in a way. And there are so many monsters that exist in the
Yes.
in and can exist in the person's imagination that is unbelievable. It was so I what is your take on people idealizing these monsters?
Yes, yes, yes. It, it's a wonderful. I wanted to have when you said that, I thought I'll have a party and have people come as their monster, come as their uh, idealization doesn't, of course, have to be good. It's the larger than life. It could be the baddest, you know, the evil is idealized also as larger than life, too. Okay, we want to hear from Marvin, and then we want to hear from you all in your breakout rooms.
Thank you, Lynn. Two things. First, Pauline used a different word. She used idealism.
Idealism.
And when you use having an ideal. So idealization, idealism might not be the same thing we're talking about. But that's not the main point. That was just to underline something. The main point is a potential always an existing potential? As in, we can have lost potential, so it exists, or we lose it, or is it only existing when it is actualized, when it is put in practice?
Say that one more time. It's like I almost have it. Anybody else?
Okay.
Like almost have it, but not quite. Say it.
Maybe I should. When you talk, Lynn, I was noting down what you were saying, and you were talking about the potential of idealization, the healing potential, the
Yes.
uplifting potential.
Yes.
But you also talked about the harming potential, and I think Lip spoke about the falsifying potential, like truth changing. And from there, I was asking myself, is a potential always an existing potential? It exists and we can lose it, meaning you have it, but me, I don't have it. You have a potential I don't have. Or is it only when it is actualized, when it is put into practice, that we can really say, yes, I have it?
Yes. Isn't that so much a focusing perspective, right? It's not a thing in itself, it's how it's in practice, how we're using it, how we're being. Is that, do I have that right? It's not about the idea so much as how it's living in us. Idealization is a life, right? How it's living in us, and how it's a vehicle, how we drive that vehicle, how we're in that vehicle.
And it's part of what you demonstrated when you talk. You demonstrated, we could feel it. That idealization potential was alive, and yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, it's alive. I think that's a wonderful last comment. See if you could feel that. What we're talking about is a larger than life reality that is alive in us. And we get to see how we want to deal with it. Pauline was saying she would put it aside, the idealization, and
I can live with Marvin's interpretation. That has brought it alive in me. It's something that I'd like to aspire, a quality though, but not the person.
a
That seems
quality, but not the person. Yes.
so, yeah.
Yes.
I have to think about that, but I really like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that it's uplifting and even
Right.
spiritual. I love
Yes.
that. Thank
Yes.
Marvin.
Yes. We need that uplifting larger. Okay.
Lynn, can I ask something before we go into breakout rooms? Maybe
Yeah.
just flag it
And
for when we come
Susan
back.
has something too. Yes, go ahead.
I can't figure out how to raise my hand, but maybe Jim will review that with me later. I've been looking for the last 5 minutes. I just want to just ask when it comes to romantic love, and there's so much idealization, and as Liz pointed out, there's also this kind of shadow of when you're idealizing someone, the love object, you're sort of devaluing yourself. That's
Right.
like the relationship, or you're less powerful.
Right.
So what is a healthy model for romantic love when there is this idealization and there's also this need to maintain your power and have your adult self in charge, not just be sort of regressing into the child, and especially if there's been such a lack of appropriate opportunities for idealization and there's such a hunger for that.
Right. Well, I'm saying that we have Kohut gives us some clues here that we don't take it literally. I'm in love with this person. and they're great and I'm nothing. Okay, I'm not going to take that literally. I'm going to recognize this as an idealization and I'm going to enjoy it. Yes, they're great. And it doesn't mean, I think the antidote to they're great and I'm nothing is we there's a belonging and there's a claiming. Even if that person doesn't want me, I'm claiming them as an ideal for myself. I belong with them. Um, and and it is in this realm of a larger, not in the realm of the explicit boxes. I don't know if that helps, but that's what came to me. Susan.
Yeah, I was having a lot of trouble with this. And I think I finally came to like holding both. Like God is the ultimate ideal, right? So, but then we have this idea that man should be godlike. So we have to like hold both. And then the other thought that came to me, well, is this is it could be very polarizing, which I think some people were getting at. And what if, which I don't know if anybody brought this up, like I'm part of the idealized group, like the way I do things is ideal, and so that person is not ideal the way they're doing things, and so we run into that kind of stuff, which is happening all over, right? And so that's kind of a thing to look out for. So can we widen? Can we widen our categories? Can widen our perspective?
That's so interesting, Susan, to be part of the idealized group and to sort of look down on the other people.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not doing it the way I do it. We're the good ones and we're the smart ones. We're the wise ones and they're not. And again, to not take it literally, it's like, to me, it's like, well, that's the child thinking that I'm better than those people. And I don't want to be down on myself. I just want to not take it so seriously. Well, the little one in me thinks that. It's something about being the ideal also for yourself, being the parent to yourself.
Yeah, what I got from you, which I think is kind of sweet, is to soften around the whole thing. Like whether we're doing this and we're saying I'm good and you're not, or you're good and I'm not, or something like that. Whatever we're doing, to soften around it.
Right. There was a book when I was a young woman called "I'm Okay, You're Okay."
Yeah.
And that was about that. Okay.
Lynn, before we go, Lynn,
I think we're not going to have breakout rooms.
maybe not. I just have to jump in and say, next week, something is going to happen in Helpers around the idea of religion. And so much of what we're talking about can carry forward. And so I just want to invite you to begin to imagine that. How does everything we're talking about here also relate to what our feelings and thoughts about religion? And I want to say thank you to Susan for using the word soften, because that's so much the focusing attitude, to soften. Okay, Lynn, that's it.
Yes. And I'm thinking, let's soften around the idea of breakout rooms right now, because I think we needed to stay together today. So much to say about idealization.
Can I jump in?
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to say to Rachel, romance, not romantic love, romance. In the way we do things, not the thing itself, the way we do things. We can allow this inside if appropriate, if empowering, and careful that it's not disempowering, but it's not idealizing to a degree of idolatry.
Yes. Idealizing to the extent of idolatry. That's a very interesting sentence, right? And that sentence is also talking about this transitional space that Winnicott talks about, or this implicit that Jean talks about, that idolatry is when you take God and you make God into this thing, right? This statue or this concept or this. But there's a kind of freeing. It's like letting the bird out of the cage. Yes. It's the big thing, and we're guided by the big thing that this person or idea is representing. Let's just see, since we're not doing breakout rooms, let's just see for a minute what you would want to have said or what you want to say now. And I'd like if Christine can find the song, You Raise Me Up, I'd like to play that song for you about idealization. How many of you know that song? It's a wonderful song of idealization. And maybe we could actually, if Christine can find it for us, play that first and then have our comments after that. For me, this song so not only speaks to, but it gives us the experience of what idealization feels like to the little one in us, and how this feeling of it being sacred and wanting to protect it, the idealization, and not let it become rigidified. So let's see if Christine can find that song for us on YouTube. Yay, boy, she's good. Okay, let's listen to this and see.
When troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. am on your shoulders, you raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. Raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be.
Thank you, Christine. What comes there when you hear that song? Maybe some hearts. Maybe some of you don't like that feeling, and some of you love that feeling. Just what comes to you?
LYNN, you say that feeling.
That feeling of worship. You raise me up to more than I can be.
I'm just thinking at this moment as focusers, which of our senses has been stimulated? How did the music and the visual impact all those ways we access what's happening?
Can you
For
say,
good and ill, maybe, LYNN?
can you say for you, BJ, what did that song do in you?
Because of my life experience, I have become so sensitive to what it is that will result in that experience. You called it worship.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really experience anything much except awe at the way that our senses can come together and bring us such an empowering, life-bringing experience. And I think so much of what we've said today goes to the psychological part of idealization of a person. And a few of us have referred back to another kind of idealism. And as I said at the beginning, a beloved ideal. And they're very close but different. So I just thought it was a magnificent representation of what music can do. My spouse is a musician, where it can take you, what visual perception can do, just, and imagining ourselves embodied the way those beautiful dancers were embodied, our mirror neurons at work, just making that be me. It was really fantastic.
Yes, great. Claudia.
Yeah, what comes to me is a sense of something bigger than me.
Something bigger than you, yes.
Yeah. And I think it's, that is very important for what comes to my mind is being a helper, regardless of what profession you're in. When you're in a helper's role, it's important to feel like there's something bigger than you to support you all the time. And then when you talk about the idealization, it reminds me of how difficult it is being a therapist in a therapeutic relationship, because you know your client and you are not in an equal position, and you have to handle the relationship in a very delicate way,
Yes.
right? To protect your client.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
Yeah, it's not an easy job to be a
not an
therapist.
easy job. It's like being a parent, right? It's not an
Yeah.
easy job to be idealized.
I always say that people like to be a therapist is not because of the money. If you work for money, forget it, do something else.
And Claudia, you're making another good point that we helpers need to be helped also. I mean, this is help for helpers, right? We're doing right. We need to have something bigger than us when we're bigger than when we're being representing the bigger for the client.
Yeah.
Priyanka.
Yeah, when you spoke about idealization and the two coins of it, I kind of experienced it in the whole session today, Lynn. When you spoke about what was idealized in your family, something got triggered in me, and all the negative kind of things that were idealized in my family were kind of, I was experiencing it in my body. And the moment this music played, I was lifted up. I could suddenly breathe more. My heart opened up. And I was thinking all the time about my teachers who taught me to rise above whatever all of the negative things I learned from my family. And so I just felt like it was such a beautiful journey for me to move from that negative part of idealization to the positive. And it was so beautiful. All the words you shared, I tried to write down everything because now I really understand idealization, both the coins of it and where I want to be. So I'm very grateful to you for sharing all your wisdom. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That song really did that for you, Priyanka. We only have time for a couple more, maybe two more comments. And then Dorothy has a poem for us.
Maybe just one word,
Yes.
like searching for the ideal. Keep on searching for the ideal. Yeah.
There's a longing and a searching. Yeah. An openness to the ideals. Okay, I think, Dorothy, we're ready for your poem. Thank you all very much for this conversation. It's just a beginning, but I very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment quickly on BJ's idea of the visualization in that song. It's just like I still have carrying inside me the being on your shoulders and the dancer being on the shoulders. It's just such a wonderful visual for me, and how I can be the carrier and I can be the one who sits on the shoulders. And I just
Yes, you can be the carrier and the one that sits on the shoulders. That was a beautiful visualization about how we can be both.
Yeah, I love that. Really love it. Christine, she picked out a really good one for him.
Yeah.
But this poem is called Fundamentalism, and I really wanted to make sure it was in the chat because I realized like I'm seeing it and I'm reading it, but I get to see it. And it's so hard in poetry when you just hear it. There's so many images thrown at you, and I really want you to have it in the chat to see it too. This really compares this whole idea of the fundamentalism in religion, the part, it's not all of religion, but the part that can move toward rigid beliefs. And then there's this image of a child, and I think she's trying to pair rigid beliefs against the innocence of a child. Fundamentalism, Naomi Shihab Nye. She's a Palestinian American poet. Because the eye has a short shadow, or it is hard to see over heads in the crowd, if everyone else seems smarter, but you need your own secret, if mystery was never your friend, if one way could satisfy the infinite heart of the heavens, if you like the king on his golden throne more than the villagers carrying baskets of lemons, if you wanted to be sure his guards would admit you to the party, the boy with the broken pencil scrapes his little knife against the lead, turning and turning it as a point emerges from the wood again. If he would believe his life is like that, he would not follow his father into war.
Oh my God, that's very powerful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to be talking about religion, and BJ is going to, I'm very much looking forward, BJ, to what you present for us next week. Okay, bye-bye now, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.